Welcome to the Uncle Jim Effect podcast. I'm the host. My name is Dennis Deloach, and I want to welcome you to this podcast. Thank you so much. I am not sure, but somewhere today or tomorrow or this week, we're going to hit our 50,000th subscriber. Thank you so much. And again, this is episode number 46. Please subscribe below, like it, make comments, share this with your family and friends. And our goal is to help people realize their God-given potential and then to magnify that potential in serving themselves, their friends, family, neighbors, in their communities. And then as we all do that and come together to realize our God-given potential, we're going to create a tsunami of hope throughout the world. And that's our goal, and that will happen. And we're trying to get that to millions and millions of people. And with your help, we'll get that done. So welcome. Let's get started. You can also listen to us on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And again, just so grateful and thank you for taking the time. So today's going to be unique. It's episode 46. I've been reading a lot lately on Benjamin Franklin, a great man. And so what I want to do today, it's going to be a little different. Instead of picking a topic to discuss on how we can help ourselves realize our God-given potential, I'm going to review some of the great quotes that Benjamin Franklin is known for. And he is such a talented man and did so many unbelievable things. So we're going to talk randomly. I've got a bunch of quotes here. This will be kind of a short and to the point podcast, but that's what we hope all of them are. And I hope what happens is one of these quotes gives you an answer for something that you're searching for, or gives you an idea or stimulates something in your mind as it has me. So these quotes have all at some point meant something to me. So I wanted to share those with you, and let's go and see how we do with this. So first, I want to start off with quotes. Again, these are all by Benjamin Franklin, but one of the first quotes I saw, he said, "Some people die at 25 and aren't buried until they're 75." And as I thought about that, what that meant to me and that helped me was to realize how many of us have already given up. You know, we might only be 25, 30, 35, 40, whatever age we are, but have we already said, oh, I'm already too old, or I'm already locked into my lot in life, or I'm not educated, or I'm out of shape, or I don't have the brains to do that. So let's not bury ourselves yet. It doesn't matter what age we are. Let's come and use our whole life, endure to the end, and do all the great things we can, and not pigeonhole ourselves in or paint ourselves into a corner that says that we can't do that because of, fill in the blank. So I love that. Some people die at 25 but aren't buried until they're 75. Make a commitment that you're going to step back, look at your life, and ignore the excuses that we all talk about. Well, I'm not smart enough. I don't have enough money. I'm out of shape. I'm too old. Whatever it is, step back and dare to dream, to say, hey, what if I could do anything I wanted? What would I do? And that's how we want to live. So that's a great start to the quotes of Benjamin Franklin. Second one I saw is, either write something worth reading or do something worth writing. And I love that. So either write something worth reading, if you've always wanted to write a book, if you've wanted to write a poem or a story, do it. But if you aren't doing that, then do something worth writing. Lead your life or do something that makes somebody else inspired, that they want to then write about what it is you're doing in life. So again, that goes back to that first thought we had, which was, don't die at 25, but spend another 50 years going through your routine of everyday boring living. Step back and say, what is it in life I can do to be exciting, to stretch, to get a 10x goal, to get me up and out of my mundane, boring routine, to get after something. And I hope this helps a little bit. Third quote by Benjamin Franklin says, he that is good for making excuses is seldom good for anything else. Again, how many excuses do we make? I don't like to brag, but I'm one of the best excuse makers around. And I've tried to commit these past several years to, I don't really care what the excuse is. And what I've started using a lot in my life It was, oh, I'm getting old. And so I've tried to catch myself. I just turned 65 and I just tore my knee up. And so it's given me some good excuses to not do things, to not go and work out, or to not continue to go play pickleball or to do those things. And I thought, that's just an excuse. And so I'm not saying to go out when you're injured or to do bodily harm. But what I am saying is, I kept going and working out. I'm still playing pickleball. I'm just going slower. So again, I'm not advocating for people to go out and do anything when you're injured, but I'm saying, you know what? Quit using excuses. We're all good at it, and let's quit doing that. And I think on the other side of getting rid of excuses is a self that we have yet to meet, and probably our greatest self. So if we want to get to that point to find out what we can actually do, you're going to have to go through a little bit of a soul searching and quit making excuses, I guess is the best way to put it. Another quote by Benjamin Franklin: well done is better than well said. How true is that? How many of us talk and talk and plan and talk and plan and plan a little more and talk a little more about doing something instead of just doing it, right? Just do it. This podcast is one of those examples for me. I got so tired of talking about it that I just said, let's go. Set the timer for 15 minutes and said, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm going to turn on the record. And 6, 7, 8 months ago, I did that. And I'm so glad I did. It's benefited me so much, and I hope benefited you a little bit. Another quote: wish not so much to live long as to live well. And that comes down to, it's not so much how much time we get, but how much we put into that time that we get. And again, that just comes back to set goals, do the most you can now, today, and don't wait until tomorrow to do this. So I just love the way that Benjamin Franklin thinks. This one's a little longer, and he said, human felicity, and I had to look that up. That means intense happiness. So I'm going to substitute that. Intense happiness is produced not so much by great pieces of good fortune that seldom happen as by little advantages that occur every day. So as we wait, and I'm going to be so happy when I get to that point, most of the time that point never happens. But if we can say, you know what, I'm not going to wait for a month or 6 months or a year or 10 years down the road to be happy, because that most of the time never gets here. But every day I can have a little tiny success. So every day as I move towards that big goal, again, it's the old adage, you have to enjoy the journey. It's not the destination. You have to enjoy the journey. And I think if we can really focus on the little things on a daily basis, we only have the present. We only have this moment. We don't have tomorrow. We don't even have 2 hours from now. We only have this moment. We take yesterday and our successes and mistakes to learn to be better at this moment. And we're preparing at this moment to have better tomorrows, but the tomorrows never come. We're always just in this moment. So I think focus on what it is that we can do in the moment, and every day little things happen that we need to celebrate. So I love this stuff. I hope this is benefiting you in some way. Another quote, he says, content makes poor men rich. Discontent makes rich men poor. So what does that mean to be content? Because he says being content makes poor men rich. In my mind, what that's saying is, we've always got to have a portion of us that's not content with where we are. But I think this content means the gratitude to realize, hey, I'm not where I'm at, but man, I am so glad I've got what I've got. And so as a poor man, if I'm grateful for what I have, then I become rich, because then I can appreciate it. I'm in the moment. I'm happy. I experience joy. But rich men who never get to that point because they always want more, rich men at that point are always discontented. So no matter how much I have, even if it's 10 times what my poor friend has next to me, if he's content and grateful, he's going to always be happy, and I'm not, even though I have more stuff than he does. And so I love that. I think it's so true to be content or grateful, we don't have to be content with saying, "Oh, I've already done that. I'm done. I can sit back and not do anything." I think content in this sense means gratitude. Next one, a true friend is the best possession. Wow, don't I know that? And I know I've got some true friends listening on this podcast, and they know who they are. And greatest possession in my life are those great friends I have. And it just, I don't know, I can't say much more than that. There's nothing better in life than to have great friendships. I believe this journey of life that we make connections that we take with us into the next life. And I just value those people in my life that have meant so much to me, that have showed me they would do anything for me, from family, friends, my wife, to my great friends. Again, they know who they are, and I couldn't imagine this life without them. Another one, he that's content hath enough, he that complains has too much. Isn't that true? So think about that. If we complain about not having something, or if we complain, generally speaking, we're not looking back to see, wow, I mean, it's easy to complain when your shoes hurt until you see some guy in a wheelchair that wishes he could have shoes on. So I don't know. I think this is one we can all work on, but I think again, this comes back to gratitude. Uh, and gratitude to me is the greatest characteristic we can have, along with charity or the pure love of Christ for those around us. Another one, who is strong? He who can conquer bad habits. We had a podcast not too long ago on habits and how do we form them and how do we get rid of them. I think if there's nothing else you learn on this podcast, it's to pick one or two things that you know are your biggest wastes of energy, effort, time, and money, whether that's watching TV, social media, spending time on the internet, planning and not doing, whatever it is. I think if you can set one goal off of this to say, look, if I'm, pick an example, I'm on the social media too much. Even if I think there's an, I'm not on it, so, but I think on your phone you can pull up under settings somewhere, and it'll literally tell you to the hour and minute how much time you spent on each area. I would challenge you to pull that up, write that down, and say, I just want to get 10% better this week. And with that time, figure out how much that time is. I bet it'll shock you that that's probably an hour or two or three or more. If you took that only 10% reduction this week and it was 2-3 hours and spent that on in bettering your health or preparing for a race or studying Spanish or improving your business, I think you add that up over a year, 52 weeks times 2 hours, that's 104 hours. That's about 2.5, 3 work weeks, full-time work weeks, that we can get off a 10% reduction. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that we can do on a daily basis that stack up, that make such a big thing. It says the next one is search others for their virtues, thyself for thy vices. So as I look at you, I should always look to say, wow, I see A, B, and C about you, and I'm so impressed by your abilities to do these things. And of myself, I should say, look, I know I'm doing well, but wow, I spend too much time complaining, or I spend too much time watching TV. So as we think about others, always try to look at what's best about them. And when we think of ourselves, what can I do to improve? Now, that doesn't mean we're always belittling ourselves or beating ourselves up. It just means as you look at others, always try to look at what's best in them. And another one he said is, when you are good to others, you are best to yourself. As we treat others with respect, what is their thought and opinion on us? It's good. And as we seek to create value for them and to build them up and to help them along the way, what is their desire for us? Anything they can do to help. And so, again, these are common sense, but I hope that this is triggering something in your mind to get you over the hump, or to get you through what it is you need to realize your God-given potential. That's the goal of this. I like this one. God heals and the doctor takes the fee. We forget that sometimes. As much as we love physicians and we go, God heals us and they get the fee. So a lot of times we need to realize, and what this does to me is to let us always remember that everything in life comes from our Father in heaven. And those are things that we need to not take for granted, and that we need to be able to always understand that, and then proceed that way. The next one: if your riches are yours, why don't you take them with you to the other world? They're not ours, are they? Everything we have, everything, the breath we breathe, our heart that beats, all of that, we live on borrowed time. We're here at God's uh, grace. And so anything we own, whether it's business, house, money, we're just borrowing it for a short period of time. Again, if we don't think that's true, when you stop breathing or your heart stops, how much of that gets to go with you? None. And so I don't know. I think if you truly could visualize the people that I've seen on their deathbed or dying, I haven't heard of one of them even talk about wealth or material things or riches or money. It's always about loved ones, family, and feelings. And I think that's so important. Next one is: an investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Isn't that so true? And Benjamin Franklin was a tremendous example of educating yourself all the way through life, not when you stop when you're 30 or 40, 50, 60, 80. Every day you've got to be learning something. That, in my opinion, we take with us. Our education, our knowledge, those things we take with us into this next life. And again, that's my opinion. God helps them that help themselves. I didn't know it, but that came from Benjamin Franklin. And I believe that. That's what this whole podcast is about. God wants us to get better. God has given us tools to get better. Lots of us don't know where the toolbox is he gave us. And that's the point of this podcast, is to help uncover and open the door to your toolbox. Let's see what tools you have and God-given potential, and let's start using them, because that's how we're going to be happiest, and that's how we're going to be the most fulfilled and have the most joy. A couple more. Laziness travels so slowly that poverty soon overtakes him. Isn't that true? So as we're lazy and continue to be lazy and continue to stay on social media or to watch TV or to complain and blame and do nothing, that guy's so lucky and that girl's born that way, or it's we're lazy and doing all those things. Guess what's coming right up on all that is poverty. Okay. And so we do not want to be doing those things. We do not want poverty to catch up with us, because not that money matters, but the more sources that we can have for income and money, and the better we do, the more we can help other people, which in turn helps us. So this is not about accumulating numbers. This is about accumulating abundance, because that's what God wants us to do. And then as we are abundant, we help more people. And then as we help more people, we become more abundant. And then we can help more people. And it's just amazing how that works. And then finally, uh, this kind of sums up everything. Benjamin Franklin said, little strokes fell great oaks. It's the little chops every day on a big old tree that eventually weaken it and it falls. It's not one big swing of the axe and the big mighty tree or this 10x goal in life or any of those things happen. Every single day we do a little bit, and that little bit adds up to where I just said that example a minute ago was 10% decrease of social media. And if you're spending an example of I don't know, 15 hours, 20 hours a week, that's about 2 hours a day. I guarantee you most people might be doing a lot more than that. If you're doing 20 hours a week and you save 10%, that's 2 hours a week. 52 weeks a year is 104 hours. That's 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks of full-time work that we get off of a 10% reduction in a 20-hour week of watching social media. So if you can simply do that little stroke every day, If you can do that, that's the kind of thing that adds up. Imagine if you do that over a year or 3 or 20, what that can add up to. So I hope this different podcast we did, again, quoting Benjamin Franklin, who I love and think is one of the great minds of all time. Uh, I hope this helped. I hope it triggered something in your brain to make you get over the hump. And again, so grateful for you. Please subscribe below, share this with family and friends. And then more importantly, start implementing these things. If there's an area that you're not doing, go back and review one of these podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Until next time, be grateful and continue to search for your God-given potential. It's there, and I promise if you do that, things will work out great. Until then, God bless.